Now, the international airport in the capital city of the Central African Republic has turned into a packed and squalid tent city, one of 67 such camps across the country, home to 1 million people who have fled the fighting. The president himself might perhaps have seen them from the air, amid reports he's fled the country and will resign shortly. Despite the presence of French and African Union troops on the ground in the beleaguered country, the fighting between Christian and Muslim militia continues. Our chief correspondent Alex Thompson has visited the camp at the airport in the capital, Bangui.
Bangui International Airport this morning. It's 3 weeks since we were last here. In that time, the camp for people displaced by fighting in the capital has exploded in size by perhaps 3 times. Médecins Sans Frontières say 100,000 here by day, but who knows by night. There is an order of sorts. Makeshift bazaars have sprung up, a barber shop, a mobile phone charging place, and a butcher's too. But few here, with mass unemployment caused by the fighting, can afford prices in these places.
The basic needs of this population have not been met up until now. They don't have latrines, they don't have water, and they didn't up until yesterday have food and shelter. Luckily yesterday the distribution started. I'm so happy for the population because it's really, really needed. And we will try our best to do with the health situation. But then of course they also need peace in their country, but that's out of my hands, of course.
That desperately needed UN food distribution underway today. They say they can feed the entire camp in 10 days. But can they? The place is expanding before your very eyes. If you want a symbol of the continuing terror which chokes this city, then this is it. Look around me here. New plots being laid out, staked out for new people, new families fleeing the terror in their suburbs to come and live in the terrible conditions around the airport here. And look at the size of it. None of this existed, none of this was cleared just 2 days ago. There's no question that this camp of already 100,000 people is going to grow and grow a lot more. And everywhere, the tension, the terror, the sense, things are getting worse here.
We've lost our children, our little brothers. We've nothing to eat, and we hope we can get out of here, and that France takes its responsibilities as soon as possible to disarm the militants.
Alex and Bela sell a few potatoes. They say we're Christians. If we try to go home, the Seleka Muslim militia will kill us.
There's no proper disarmament. The Seleka gunmen just hang around with their machetes and arms and kill people all over the city.
This place should be an affront to the wider world. Thousands living in hovels, razor-wired off from the 21st century of an international airport. All day they spill over the runway itself, for the camp now sprawls either side of it.
So here comes the fire engine of all things, trying desperately to clear the runway because another flight is taking off. This happens here all day as the flights come and go from Bangui Airport. It's a symbol of chaos, if you like, but it's normal life here.
So far, no one's actually been hit. Move through the camp with us and see this is what the international failure to disarm the militias looks like. And as ever, the weakest suffer the most. In they come. At the camp, Médecins Sans Frontières aim to vaccinate 40,000 children under 15 in the next 4 days. They're going at it flat out. The immediate threat here, measles. And yes, in Bangui, measles is a killer.
I think people don't realize how dangerous and painful measles can be, and deadly, at least.
Deadly?
Yes, the mortality can be quite high, especially in a situation like this.
Why?
Because people are living in such dire conditions, hygienic conditions. It's really, really bad. And the density is just incredible, so the contamination can go very fast.
Walk 15 minutes and you're still in the same vast camp. But take a look at this. The next project by MSF. They're building a 7,000 square metre hospital here. The priority is for women in labour and, of course, emergency casualty cases. There's been shooting in this camp in the past 2 weeks. It may be simply good preparation because people here are too terrified to go to hospitals in town, but it may be an ominous sign of what could unfold here. Alex Thompson, Channel 4 News, Bangui in the Central African Republic.
Well, Alex joins us live now from the capital, Bangui. What's the latest on the whereabouts of the president, Alex?
Well, Kathy, a major development tonight, which is that the president, who only ever described himself, in all fairness, as an interim president, has effectively fled the country. He's going to a political meeting in Chad, where basically they're going to make him an offer he can't refuse, which is to leave his office and leave it now. The surrounding countries here are essentially fed up with his performance. The big question tonight is how that plays in. If that seems like it's creating a power vacuum in a country where power is already violently and brutally disputed, then you're absolutely right. That is precisely what has happened. Tomorrow we're going to see a presentation from the chief imam and the archbishop in Bangui. They are, if you like, stepping into the breach here to some degree to try and bring people together. But you have to say it does seem, from many sources here, that that is be enough. So it's going to be a very tense next 24 hours, 48 hours. A lot of military on the streets, French helicopters unlit and quartering the city at a few hundred meters overhead of the hotel where I'm standing not so long ago. So there is a great deal of tension here tonight in the light of that major development.
And briefly, we're hearing reports tonight that the EU is planning to send some kind of peacekeeping forces there. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I think they'll be very pleased in Paris. France has been appealing for help. They've got about 1,000 soldiers here, but that is a relatively puny force for the potential task in place. And they have not, and I'm sure they'll be open about this, they've not succeeded or even tried to take the guns away from the Seleka Muslim militia, who still hold their arms in bases. There's one up the hill not far from where I'm standing now, in fact. They have all their guns in place, and the word is they have been rearmed and are spoiling for a fight. As regards the EU, frankly, don't hold your breath. They're considering this option for around 700 to 1,000 peacekeepers to augment the French force, but whether it actually happens is a different matter. Back to you.
Alex in Bangui, Central African Republic, thank you very much.